Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, coming live from Viper Heart, children of God, and that's you, and that's you, and that's me, and that's me. I hope all be. So we're not gonna leave those up. And I had this other idea for the actual paper, because I don't want to, throw it out. So we're gonna just, pull the Band-Aid off and, pull all the paneling down in this room. So there might be a different wallpaper over there. If you haven't seen before, I'll try to go slow here. So this would be what's underneath. Now, that's where we got postponements, holdups. Probably a little longer than need be, but because it's not just on the brick. I mean, it is on the brick. I never would have thought that, but you know, I would just age into it, and but that's the thing, is that once, maybe when we get down here to the 70s, 60s heat system, or 80s, I don't know. I don't know how long they were still installing the panels for the boiler. I don't like these ones. Me nor John does. It's this one, these. Can't see with the light. I wish they had left the old, and maybe they could have been rehooked up. The old big clunky ones. Sometimes they had them in rooms. Maybe not every room, but the funny part about this house is a humble brick. You know, it wouldn't have been like this. These are mansions on this wall. And there's some pretty strange stuff in it. There's a couple here, but there is literally what would appear to be, I mean, and this could have been after emancipation, and they just continued to work because the farmers were kind, but it's a dark-skinned couple under a tree, and they're watching the wealthy landowners with something going on here. They're all dressed to the hilt. So then I was like, are we going to preserve the paper? And then you're like, is she really talking about it? It's more like a town. I guess it's not. No, this is a different house. These are still rather humble, but they're somewhat fancy. I think there's a few different styled homes on here. This looks like an Italian. Is that art or Italian inspired? I don't know. And if you look close, there's 3 people under the tree. So I've done some cleaning, but John and I stack. I don't know what we're doing. We're always doing a project. We didn't know this before, before we got actual footing and able to get things for projects and stuff. So we didn't know we both worked kind of the same way. I mean, some might just say a full-out disaster, but he is a good mechanic, so it always ends up working out. But we'll talk about funny stuff like that for a minute, but it'll probably come out wrong. It really blows my mind because we just wouldn't have known these things before we got married. But see, our projects are different in how I use tools sometimes too, but like we have to have more than two hammers because one of us might go off into like a what are we project are we thinking about, what other thing have we wandered off in our mind, would leave a hammer somewhere or something. It does sound pretty alarming. Just bear with me. It's not that bad if we're in a good environment, which technically we haven't had that experience in a long time. But I know our problem, but I don't foresee us fixing it because we've tried. And we've tried to just like let stuff go, and we've tried to like get rid of things, and then lo and behold, we did end up needing that for a project. And so then we had to go back out and get it again. So you do that more than once. You know, I don't know, there's not much we can do about it. I think there's worse problems. It's just that it can kind of tend to be a lot of little stuff too. Because if you think about tools and stuff to make stuff, it's a lot going on, you know what I mean? And if you just think of us separately, okay, that's manageable. That's somewhat manageable. One of us, one person that has these types of projects, and some get completed, some eventually get completed, and some never do. Or you come to for instance, what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to take this old down. That's obviously better than just keep covering it. And it's too small of this area with this type of design of this room with doorways and all that to be putting this wild paper on. So then I was just going to do the one wall. But if that's not brick over there, and then we got another wild wallpaper from a long time ago, and this side of the home confuses me still, because I don't know which side was built first, or if they were built at the same time. That's not what I sense. Or maybe part of the house came down and another part of the house was connected. That's probably more of what went on. And then I'm wondering, what would have went on back then? A tree, or like what would have, a fire? I shouldn't say it out loud. For them to have maybe rebuilt onto one part of this house. I think that's probably really more of the story. So, because this has an old crawl under it, this side of the house. You can't see fully into it in the basement. But then the other side is a somewhat newer, I guess you could say newer construction. Not by many years. But honestly, I would put this side of the house, if it's supposed to be 1889, 1887 range, I'm going to put this side of the house a little older. So anyways, that was really all I wanted to share, is that it was a really sensitive, delicate subject, and it's just one of those things added to the cauldron of division and upset. I think that if we can just keep a certain perspective about sexuality, what it means to people, just dove right in, and like the importance of separation of children and adult practices. I think most of us, I'm going to think that most level-headed people realize that being gay is certainly not easy, and I just think that we're going to have to start drawing some lines. I don't know what those are, because I think that freedom is really important, but definitely with the children. Some of us are coming from some really whacked out abuse past. We were horribly confused about our sexuality. And we came out on the other side. And when we discovered what ended up being the elephant in the room, literally, because she was pretty big, that was a really demented joke. And the other one too, but not as severe. That was another form of abuse with some crossovers. And a sibling violation, far too young. Other people, there was whoever was in the industry, they tried to hide it from me, but yet exploited me. It's very disturbing. And then it was just easier to get me dead by 30. And these are recollections that are very clear and vivid now with the doctors and stuff. And it's not like they were going to tell me. You know, it's just like, here, take this so your heart explodes by the time you get home. It was more than once. In my 30s. So those of us that got to the other side of these dilemmas, because in essence they are, for some of us, I didn't say all. Still though, we come back full circle. It shouldn't give a matter what or who or what you're doing, but it better not involve children. I don't know what more simpler rules there could be. Don't you agree?